At a glance, team building and Wuthering Waves can feel intimidating. Character kits are loaded to the brim, so each character feels completely unique in the gameplay and can be somewhat self-sufficient. If you want to learn the basics to team building, you could check out my previous video here. I'll be using the fundamentals from that video to provide you some team examples for every character in the game. So whether you want to run a DPS powerhouse like Jian or a lesser DPS like Yuanwu, you'll have an example of what team works for them. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's get on with the video. First, let's divide the cast into a couple of useful groups that will allow you to plug and play any character into any team. The first and most universal group will be your supporters. As of this moment, Verena and Baiji are the only supporters in the game, but as more are added into the future, they will fall into this category. These characters will fit on any team, so all you need to do is pick one and you're good to go. Now for the two DPS options, we're going to divide them into their outro skill types so that you can best select who you can pair together. The outro nukers are going to be selfish DPS characters who don't provide any buff to your team, but rather unleash raw damage to the enemy. Like the support, you can fit them onto any team you like. Most of the 5-star characters currently fall into this category, those being Jiyan, Calcharo, Encore, and Ling Yang, and then Yuanwu and Qixia for the 4 stars. The general buffers will offer a buff to a specific damage type or other useful effect, and can be useful to all characters. The characters in this category are Jianshin, Yang Yang, Mortefi, Tao Chi, and the Rover. You'll be able to freely mix and match characters from any 3 of these groups and still come up with a team of varying strength and effectiveness. But the bottom line is that they will all make use of each other's buffs with no extra conditions attached. The elemental damage buffers are the most restrictive characters as they require a teammate with a shared element to make use of their elemental damage buff. These characters are Alto for arrow damage, Yinlin for electro, Sanhua for glacio, and Danjin for havoc. These characters are going to be best paired with a shared element from the general buffer or nuker outro archetype. Now I'll list out an example team for each character in a primary role. This will be by no means the most optimal pick for every character, as I don't want to have too many repeats, but characters are incredibly flexible, and oftentimes you'll find that you can easily swap out characters of similar roles for similar results. Alto boosts arrow damage, so you'll want to pick one of the other arrow DPS characters to make use of his buffs. Jianshin buffs ultimate damage, so her best partner is going to be a character who wants to come in and drop their ultimate for big damage. Jian is the exception, as his ultimate is a stance change that turns his attacks into heavy attack damage, so he will not benefit from Jianshin's buff. Mortefi provides 2 buffs and is the optimal pick for heavy attackers. His ultimate allows him to attack off-field every normal and heavy attack, and his outro skill boosts heavy attack damage. Jian's ultimate turns his damage into heavy attack damage and will work incredibly well with Mortefi. Yang Yang is an ultimate battery. Her outro skill provides resonance liberation energy recharge to allow you to ult spam faster, so she benefits anyone who relies on their ultimate for their DPS. As the premier electro DPS, Calcharo will get the most with Yinlin once she arrives due to her electro damage and ult damage boost. Until her release, any buffer or nuker will work with him. Yinlin's secondary damage boost allows her to provide some use outside of electro teams. She will benefit electro characters the most, but any general buffer or nuker can be her partner as well, at the cost of not making full use of her outro kit. Again, Yinlin will be the best partner for electro characters, Yuanwu being no exception. Without Yinlin, you can opt for Tao Chi for her skill damage buff, as Yuanwu's forte circuit is all about skill damage. Qixia is another character to benefit a lot from skill damage buff, but any other buffer or nuke will work well with her. Encore will buff her ultimate damage when above 70% HP, and her forte circuit counts as ultimate damage, so Jianshin, who buffs ultimate damage, will be a great partner for her. Mortefi is in a unique position where he provides off-field fusion damage with his ultimate while buffing heavy attacks on his outro skill. He will favor heavy attackers the most, but will otherwise be the best in slot secondary for many DPS characters. Since Ling Yang is getting reworked, it is difficult to say who he could be paired with besides Sanhua. Sanhua is always an option for the glacio damage boost, however. Sanhua's primary role is to drop her ice shards with her intro, skill, and ultimate, and then detonate them with a heavy attack before swapping out. So she will still want a Glacio DPS to support, being Ling Yang. However, Tao Chi will buff her detonate with her skill buff. Dan Jin boosts Havoc damage, so she will want a Havoc partner, which is currently only Tao Chi. Tao Chi will benefit most characters due to her skill buff, and is in general a good to have unit on any team. Rover's Forte circuit is based on skill damage, so Tao Chi is again another good option, but in general everyone except the elemental buffers will be a good partner for Rover. These teams are not meant to be meta or absolute. If you find you want to swap around certain characters in these examples, you totally can. But if you're tired of hearing people asking you why you would ever consider maining Yuan Wu, and that you should just drop him in the dumpster and run Calcharo instead, I've got your back. While your combination of choice may not be the most optimal in terms of damage, you can still put together something that still works and enjoy the game the way you want to enjoy it. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. There will be more Wuwalk content coming, so don't miss out. That's all for today, and as always, thank you for watching.